How is Samsung giving us fake pictures of the moon? It makes no sense. Why would they do that? This is the Samsung Galaxy S23 ULTRA. It's probably the greatest phone to have ever hit the face of planet Earth and may just be the one you need to run out of your house to buy immediately. We're going to break down why you need to do that in this video. So without further ado, get your popcorn ready and let's get into the review of the S23 ULTRA. Okay, you can't really talk about the S23 ULTRA without looking at its design. This phone is built to near perfection. Even though it looks very much like the S22 ULTRA, the biggest change is in the frame of the phone. It's got this strong flat side, very much like the iPhone, which to me makes it so much more comfortable and easier to grip in your hands. And the front and back glass being curved, meeting the frame in the very middle, makes it so much more comfortable in your hands. It doesn't dig into your palms. Now, unlike the S22 ULTRA's very thick and rounded sides, it just feels so much sleeker, thinner, and more minimal overall. The camera modules to me stick out and look quite cool, but I think it gets a little bit uncomfortable where it keeps hitting your finger all the time. So I would much prefer Samsung to follow Google with the visor design from the Pixel 7 Pro. That is a much smarter camera module and prevents the phone from rocking on a flat surface. But this phone looks beautiful and feels amazing in your hands. Maybe we could get slightly better colors, because to me the green is okay, but the black is probably the safest option to go for. Otherwise, if you look at this phone, it's going to remind you of the Samsung Galaxy Note, as it does emulate the design language of that with the non-existent curves and the very sharp corners. But other than that, you would not be disappointed when taking this out of the box. Now, speaking of taking this out of the box, the one thing you're going to be greeted with immediately is that gorgeous Samsung display. Now, Samsung is infamous for their vibrant saturated panels, and on this phone you get a vibrant 6.8-inch panel with a WQHD plus resolution of 3088 by 1440p and an adaptive 120Hz refresh rate, which means it's super smooth, and when you're not using the phone it goes all the way down to 1 Hz to save battery. Comparing it to my 16-inch MacBook Pro behind me, that has a Super Retina XDR display. I noticed the display on the Samsung device right here was a lot more vibrant and saturated, and though it may not be as natural and normal as most colors, it does pop a lot more and looks a lot more pleasing to watch. Otherwise, I would like it to be a little bit brighter. It has a peak brightness of 1750 nits, and on HDR content you'll get up to 1200 nits of brightness. Now, unlike the iPhone, which was going up to 2000 nits and 1600 nits at HDR, this does lack a little bit, and outdoors I would like it to be more brighter just so that I can see everything in direct sunlight. But other than that, it's really not a big deal and looks incredible. Now, the display is just as beautiful when you turn it off as when you turn it on, and you guys know what I'm talking about, the always on display. Very much like all the other Android phones, this display is separate from the lock screen. It shows you your clock and gives you a bunch of icons every time you get a notification from a different app, so I think it's fantastic. But for a phone like this, we gotta have some durable glass. I can't be affording to drop this phone every time I go out and pay another £1,000 for a new one or more. So it is covered with Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and back, which is pretty durable. I haven't had any scratches or anything on here, and I've been using it without a case and screen protector. Now, I'm not going to be throwing this out the window anytime soon, but like I said, it is pretty tough. Okay, so I thought I'd make a quick stop in the video. I just realized half of you are probably iPhone users and don't have Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and I'm sure you don't want that phone to completely break down. I actually picked up this Banks tempered glass screen protector. They sent it to me, so it's not sponged or anything, but I put it on the iPhone 14 Pro, and it's one of the best screen protectors I've used. It has an auto-align tray, which means you're not going to get any bubbles, and it's going to align perfectly, so you don't have to worry about going to the Apple store and having those employees put their greasy hands on your iPhone when you can do it in the comfort of your own home for an affordable price. So check out the Banks tempered glass screen protector for all you iPhone users. Links in the description below for 15% off. Anyways, back to the video. The software on this phone is massively important, because if a phone has great hardware and a great display and the software is terrible, you might as well chuck it in the bin, because that's all about user experience. And my user experience on this thing has been amazing. I was hugely surprised by how buttery smooth One UI 5.1 is on top of Android 13. And unlike the Pixel 7 Pro stock Android, as smooth as people think that is, this may just top that. The animations and the transitions between apps and going from an app to your home screen has never been smooth on an Android device before. And something about it is just so clean and fast. So when it comes to software, this thing is amazing and very much reminds me of Oxygen OS before the whole Oppo days back in the OnePlus 6 and the OnePlus 5. Oxygen OS by OnePlus used to be so smooth, and I feel like Samsung has kind of turned into that. Now, that could be down to the chip. The chip in this phone is of course the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the most powerful chip on any Android smartphone phone right now. And it isn't just Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, it's Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, which means it's overclocked ever so slightly to be smarter for this phone and a little bit faster as well. Overall, it's been very snappy, very clean, and I haven't found any lag at all, and I can 100% confirm to you it's faster than any other Android device that I've used. If you want to see me compare this to the Pixel 7 Pro's Tensor chip, subscribe and turn on the notifications with that video coming out very soon. But overall, this thing is extremely snappy. Unlocking this phone and getting to the home screen has never been better. The 3D ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is so accurate and works pretty much 99% of the time, especially when your fingers are wet or moist. It works very quickly and is extremely fast. It also does have Face ID, but honestly, even though it doesn't work in the dark very well, I don't really care because the 3D ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is the most accurate fingerprint unlocking system you're going to get on a smartphone, and on the S23 ULTRA it doesn't disappoint. Okay, we can't really talk about this phone with, of course, the craziest feature, the S Pen. People look at this as just a little stylus, but to me it's like a lifesaver. On days where I haven't done my uni work and I'm on the train, all I have to do is use split screen multitasking, which alone is such a good feature on Android. With a PDF on the top of the phone and my notepad on the bottom, I pull out this S Pen and I'm sitting there answering all the questions I need to work on, which has been so useful and so much easier than taking out an iPad and opening up that whole thing. So the pen is amazing, especially on such a big canvas like the S23 ULTRA's 6.8-inch display. Also, it's a Bluetooth remote, so when you're kicking back and watching content on YouTube, you can click the button to play and pause those videos and swipe between them with the crazy cool gestures, and use it as a little remote to take pictures in massive groups of photos, which is so nice to have. It doesn't come at the cost of battery life. This phone has a 5000 mAh battery, very much like the S22 ULTRA, but this gets me to the day with about 6, 7, 8 and even 10 hours of screen on time, which is crazy. And unlike the S22 ULTRA, which was only getting people about 4, 5, 6 hours, this really does last all day. Now, this could be because of the chip, like we mentioned. It has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is super powerful. But last year and previous years, half the world would be stuck with this crappy Exynos chip from Samsung, which was never as powerful. And people in North America and all these other regions would be getting the Snapdragon chip. Finally, everyone, everywhere, all at once, gets the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is very powerful and very efficient. So overall, this will last you all day, and that S Pen is something that you should not underrate. It's incredible. Now, you're probably thinking, why haven't I spoken about this camera? Honestly, I'm going to be doing a separate outdoor camera test comparing it to the iPhone and the Pixel, so stay tuned and subscribe for that. But in terms of the specs, this has a 12 megapixel ultra wide at the top, a 200 megapixel main lens in the middle, and a 10 megapixel telephoto 10x lens at the bottom. It also has a 3x optical telephoto lens with 10 megapixels in the corner right there. So those are some crazy specs, and here's some pictures just to show you guys the images. They're pretty sharp, saturated and vibrant, which is what you'd expect from Samsung photos, and overall they look pretty nice. However, you guys are probably thinking, what about that controversy about Samsung giving us fake moon pictures at 100x? How is Samsung giving us fake pictures of the moon? It makes no sense. Why would they do that? They're basically frauding us, making us buy these phones. Listen, I did my research and I found that it's not really fake. It's basically just Samsung using AI to enhance the moon and make it look a little bit clearer. And honestly, I've noticed that in a lot of phones, even my iPhone and Pixel. When you take a picture of like a tower or something quite colorful, it may come out to be a bit more vibrant and punchier than real life. So I don't know, take it as you will. I still think it's pretty sick to all your iPhone friends, showing them, hey, I can literally see the moon like a telescope from this phone. So it's really not that big of a deal and it's pretty clean. Now, if you want to see more pictures and videos and how this thing performs, like I said, subscribe and turn on those notifications, because these next videos are going to be very, very cool, because I'm going to be comparing this to those phones and explaining what is the beast of 2023. Other than that, make sure to check out this video down here somewhere of the Pixel 7 Pro and why I think that's one of the best affordable flagships for you to buy. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.